break up the Sabercats 3-0 for the first time in team history. Of course, that history doesn't go very far back, but hey, this is definitely the best offense they've ever had. Eber Lopez with 5 touchdowns, 173 yards passing as they hand it to La Jolla 59-7 over the weekend. This one, a big game for Eber, who was, he gave all the credit to his offense after the game.
I couldn't do it on my team. I couldn't do it with the O-line. My receivers helped me out. I thank God for blessing me with them and blessing me with the stuff I have.
Sure, well, it's the first time we're 3-0, so we got to go to work. We got a good PSJ Memorial bunch, and we got to go to far and play. So I think our kids will stay humble, and we got to stay hungry and go to work.
They're taking on a tough PSJ Memorial team, but let's talk about Vela for a second. 3-0. Are the Sabercats this good? Because they look pretty good against La Jolla. They were not slowing down any against that Coyote team.
Yeah, and the thing that's most impressive to me is that they've been able to balance their offense. They have like 5 or 6 ball carriers that they go to. They've thrown the ball to 5 players at least every game. So they're trying to spread the wealth. I asked Coach Salinas about it after the game, and he said they're really just trying to give everyone touches at this point. So if they could do that while still winning games and not hurt their record, I think that's pretty impressive, and it'll help them going into district.
And the Vela defense, nothing to shake your head at either.
No, not at all, because you look at the first touchdown of the ball game is answered by a 96-yard kickoff return to the 3-yard line. 2 plays later, it's a 98-yard return for a touchdown, and the defense took control there. 3 different red zone stops, 2 different red zone turnovers. Defense doing what they got to do, and like he said, spread that offense around, and boy, it looks good. Yeah, Vela might have their biggest test this week, however, against a PSJ Memorial team that has been looking pretty good on offense and defense, mostly defense lately, as the Wolverines have come up strong in their games, in their 3 games so far this year. Mario, let me ask you, Vela against PSJ Memorial, what do you think happens in this game? Who's your pick to win?
I have Vela. I don't know if they'll be challenged unless they face one of the Sharyland, or when they do face Sharyland and Mission Vets in district. So far they've been able to do it. I know they played Pace, which struggled last year, but they're improved. They played Harlingen South, really good team last year. I don't know how good they'll be this year. So they've played quality opponents. I expect them to continue doing the same.
Joe?
I'm going to pick Vela just because I saw Vela. They're fresh in my mind. I saw the highlights of Memorial. They do look like they're going to be talented, but I think Vela's got a lot more firepower than what they're bringing out just yet.
Yeah, and I might regret this pick. I've regretted picking against Vela so far this year, but I'm going to go with the Wolverines in this one. Their defense is just, it's really impressing me with the guys they've got. That's a senior-led ball club, and they're going to be playing at home, so I'll go with them. Meanwhile, the Sharyland Rattlers did something very interesting this past week. They scored 28 points but didn't have an offensive touchdown. How did they do that, you ask? Well, how about back-to-back punt returns for touchdowns from Sharyland and then from Manny Campos? How about a defense that not only has a pick 6 but also has a safety, and then 2 field goals from the foot of Abraham Chan? Yeah, add it up, that's 28 points. What's more interesting, the quarterback situation for Sharyland. Yes, Lance Madden's still getting plenty of touches, still running the ball. Diego Chrysler playing more at wide receiver these days, while Cesar Chapa is taking over at the other more quarterback spots. Coach Adami talked about all the guys that are taking reps for this team.
These guys are hungry and they're wanting to outdo each other, and so I think with the fact that maybe some guys are getting limited touches, I think that hunger is when they do get the ball in their hands is real high. They want to show what they can do.
They do want to show what they can do, and they're showing it at all different places all over the field. Sure, Sharyland can play 11 positions on either side of the ball. Is there any drawback to all these guys playing all these different positions at any point in time for Sharyland?
I don't think so. I mean, they practice this every day. Coach Adami has what they call a crossover period, where they switch to the other side of the ball, and all his players are versatile. I mean, if you look at the roster, they at least play at 2 positions. Landez is all over the field for them. Their quarterbacks play other positions too. They're a very, very capable team, and as Adami said, he wants this just in case if there's an injury going down, they could plug in someone and they won't miss a step.
That makes sense. Sharyland 3-0, Vela 3-0. 2 of the 5 teams left that we have, Weslaco East, Port Isabel, and Brownsville St. Joseph. Is there a chance that Sharyland and Vela start looking towards each other this early in the season, Joe?
I'm sure they've already circled each other and taken a look, but don't rule out Mission Veterans that's sitting out there saying, hey, we want our crack at Sharyland. But yeah, Vela, Sharyland, going to be a good one.
Yeah, and Santos Villarreal had a big game for Mission Veterans, Mario.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it for a few years now. I mean, he was impressive as a freshman, had an injury last year, bounced back, and he's showing it. The thing that I was curious about was whether he would be able to hold up playing defense. I know that they were going to switch him every 2 drives. He hasn't done it as much yet, but I mean, he's still been able to bring it on the offensive end.
Oh, the other team in 31-5A that we need to talk about played last night in Laredo, and that's Roma taking on Uvalde. Roma ended up losing, yes, 14-6, but man, what about this Gladiators defense? They're only allowing 9 points per game. This is a Uvalde team that is now 3-0 and has beaten 2 other San Antonio area teams, I believe Marshall and Highlands. Joe, Roma for real.
And indeed they are. And that's what we said last week. We wanted to check them out against Uvalde, see what it was. Did weather play a factor in the low scoring? I'm not so sure it played as much a factor as like you're saying. Their defense is just stiff, tough, and ready to go.
Roma may be looking more impressive this year on defense than they did in previous years with Orly in the backfield on offense.
Yeah, I spoke with their defensive coordinator last week, and he said that a lot of it comes from last year. Last year they missed the playoffs by giving up a big run to Santos Villarreal at Mission Vets. They remember that defense was a big focus of their offseason, so they're really, really emphasizing defense, and it shows through the first 3 games.
It definitely does. We are coming right back on Sunday Sports Extra. We're going to talk about the other 5A district. How about 32-5A? Now that their pre-district is done, who's looking good? How about the big win for Ed Couch-Elsa? Plus, also talking about those Bears. Great on defense, maybe on offense. We'll talk about it next.